a little bit into the dance, okay, of tango. And I ask you, what is tango from these two pictures for you?
Well, we both got couples dancing together.
I would say this is the older type of tango and this is a newer type of tango because that's become gentrified and classical.
Yes,
That's more like the into the club and we're going to dance.
Have a boogie, it's more boogie.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened is exactly, most of the people will say this is tango, right? Because what came out from Argentina was the tango show, okay, which is beautiful, but it's different from this. This is the real tango, how it is started, and a lot how we dance today, right? The people that are in the tango today, they know that this is tango too. But most of the people that are not in the tango, they will say this is tango, right?
Yeah.
And they are both tangos, right?
Yeah.
But they are very different animals, those two, right? This is spectacular, it's acrobatic. Yeah, and one of the main difference is
choreographed.
Choreographed.
So you know what you're going to do before.
The step you're going to do, right? It's professional. The embrace is more open embrace. They dance a little bit more distant from each other because you need to do this legs ups and downs, right? And it's more to admire than to real dance. It's
more for the people watching than the people
watching. Yeah. And this other one, this is a milonga we had in our city in Brazil. Me and my husband, we do sometimes this kind of things, and this was one of our milongas in Brazil, in the Jockey Club.
That could be milonga. That could be Edinburgh, yes.
Yeah, it could be Edinburgh, yeah. This is a typical milonga. So you see the embrace, you see the eyes closed, you see the concentration. This is not for outsiders to see. It's just to dance. It's for nobody. Really, we don't look very much at people dancing in Bilong. So this is the real tango dance, not the tango show. This is the tango dance, okay? And it's a lot of about surrender, about connection, about listening. It's a lot about listening to the music. It's improvising. Totally improvisation, right? And it's a social dance. We dance with other people, right? It's to dance. So this is to mark the difference between what's the show, tango show, and the tango. They are very, very different things. Right?
That's really helpful because in Scotland, in Britain, we have this Strictly Come Dancing. It's a very popular program, and they do Argentinian tango, but it is like that. And when I see it, I think that's not tango.
It's not
that really explains it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And this is hard to explain for people that are starting. Many people want to start, and when they see that, they say, we can never do that, right? Because it's really difficult. You need to remember all the steps. You need to be very fit to do all this, and it has nothing to do with this. There is a funny story that we go a lot to Argentina because we are like 2 hours flight from Argentina. So we go a lot to the milongas in Argentina. And one of the guys, the famous guys that all the girls want to dance with, this guy is called Chino Perico. He dances in different milongas. He is like 75 years old probably today. And you see this guy dancing, he doesn't do anything. Like he walks, he just walks. He walks, but he knows, he listens to the music so well that you just feel hold him. And I never danced with him, I would like to. But for us, the ladies, a good dancer is just a guy that knows how to listen the music.
Well,
he's not trying to do any steps.
Connect with his partner.
That connects too. But the listening is a very, very important part of this. An offshore connection, right? And we're going to test it. I'm going now to the second step in our agenda, which is talking about why it's the tango is unique, is so unique that with some explanations for that uniqueness. The first thing is the choreography. All the dances, they have form and manner. The form is the drawing that you do in the soil, like as palavras
On the floor.
my words.
The ground.
On the floor.
Yeah, on the floor, exactly, on the floor. The drawing that you draw, the dancer draw in the floor. What you do, what if you go one step here, if you go, and the manner is the way you draw that form. You can draw it very slowly, you can draw with this or that. And all the choreographies, they have both things, right? The what and the how.
Okay.
The popular dances in general are determined by form. 2 steps here, 2 steps there. And the tango, the manner is what determines if you are dancing tango. You can just do this and you are already dancing tango. Okay? You don't need anything. You don't need to go. You can go in any direction, you are dancing tango. It's the manner you do it, the embrace, that will say that you are dancing tango. It's not because you are doing 1 step or 2 steps or going around or anything. That's one of the uniqueness about tango. I'm taking that from that book, and Rodolfo Dinzel is he's unfortunately. He passed away about 2 years ago. He's considered one of the big teachers of the tango dance in Argentina. And he has this book that's a wonderful book about the dance and all the aspects of the dance. But that's one of the peculiarities.
You know
of
if
the tango.
this book has been translated?
I'm not sure. I think so. Because it's very well known in the tango world, Rodolfo Dinzel. But that's one of the things. Second thing.
Oh, all right. What was the last?
Sorry. Yes.
The last line of the one before. Can you go back?
Sorry. Yes. Oh, the manner is the embrace. The way you embrace each other, the way you connect to each other. Now you can look, and the way the person is embraced, you can say, "Oh, you are dancing tango." Okay. Right. So one
That's
of the
lovely.
big
I love
differences
it.
is this.
It's a really good way to
It's a good way to explain.
see it, because like particularly for Scottish people, especially Scottish men, it's quite hard for them to understand, about the manner, and then because you're thinking, oh, if I do this, if I do that, I'm dancing tango, but of course they're not, and they have to surrender to a different, manner, and that's not easy. So, but it's really good when you show it's 2 different things. I love it.
I think that for me the explanation was very interesting. Very interesting. But it's not about the form. If you want to learn the 8 steps of tango, there are 8 steps. When you start learning tango, they are going to teach you 8 steps. And if you learn that and try to do it, you may not be dancing tango at all, because it's the manner. The other peculiarity is the music. It's the only dance without percussion. The instrument of the percussion in the music, it's not in the tango. There is no percussion in the tango. Okay? So the melodic instrument makes the rhythm. A lot of the rhythm comes from the bandoneon. That they do tum tum tum. And it's very much subjected to the interpretation for each musician. So that variability does not allow automatization. Is that right? that word, I don't know. You can't automatize. You can't automatize. Because
Yes, I mean, yeah.
There is no rhythm.
Yeah. That's one of the different things. Because when you have rhythm, when you have like this, it's very hard for you not to step. But if you don't have rhythm, or if it varies, and you can't just do that. It's never automatic. Okay.
Wow, that's so interesting.
The other musics are very much into the rhythm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think of salsa, for instance.
It's
You know,
rhythm.
you just can repeat it. Automatic.
Automatic.
So you can't go into automatic mode, you know, because you don't know what might be coming next as the music changes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you've got to stay alert and
Alert.
stay with the music. Yeah.
Yeah. In tango, we
Stay,
know
you
that
have to
this
keep
is very
listening.
true.
You have to keep listening.
Yeah. You have to be very
That's
alert all the time because it can change. So this is very exciting because you never are in an automatic mood, right?
So wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
You went past other popular dance. Okay, and then tango focuses on the
other
melody.
popular dances are focused in the rhythm, and tango is a lot focused in the melody. We
Okay.
focus a lot in the melody and not in the rhythm.
Not on the rhythm,
Okay. So I'm putting here some differences from other popular dances, so we can understand that difference. Also, a little bit what I just said, the interpretation of the dancer. In other dances, the weight is discharged in each musical beat, right? You know, this. In tango, we don't need to step in each beat. It can be really slow. You can just stay there. We sometimes see like people like doing this here, right? And the music is there, and this music is beating, right? And also, you can step 2 or more times in one beat. So it can be very fast and then very slow. So this is another thing that we need to be very alert in the tango, right? So it depends a lot on the interpretation of the dancer. So it makes every dancer really a unique person. You can see the same music danced by different dancers, and you're going to see different interpretations, right, of it. This unpredictable game of time and space is one of the tango dance secrets. It's unpredictable. You need to be all the time pay attention. No? And when total surrender to the music and mindfulness of you and your partner is achieved, there is an overwhelming satisfaction. I asked the lady that the organizer, Louise, the organizer.
Yeah.
And I said, you are working all the time, you are not dancing, right? Because she was working with the staff there. And she said, you know, sometimes one only dance, good dance, it's worth for the whole night. It's enough, right? If you have a good dance, one good dance, you are like, wow, isn't that? So this is an overwhelming feeling. Yeah. I think that's what keeps us in the tango. And the last one that I brought from one book, he says in this phrase, I put this in English, all this makes tango an introspective dance. It's a sad thought to be danced. Okay? Di Sepolo is an important poet of tango music, and he said that tango is a sad thought to be danced. The opposite of dancing in other cultures, normally extroverted expression of joy or eroticism. In other dances like samba or salsa, it's a lot of joy, right? It's much more joy.
I know, it's true. When I first, I used to dance a lot of salsa, and when I first heard tango and I did some lessons, there was an Argentinian came over from a lovely dancer. It was too sad. I was overwhelmed by the sadness. I thought, oh my goodness, I can't dance this, you know. So I had to go away from the music and the tango. But then I came back to it, you know, like 15 years later, and then I really loved it.
It's interesting.
But if you think, going back to what you were saying about the history of tango, that when people were all displaced and arriving, and you know, it was also the of necessity the connections that they had were quite transitory. So you had to almost learn, you know, you could connect with somebody, but then they might move on, or you might move on, you might get a job in another part of the country. So it's like being able to connect and then let go. you know, and then come together and just experience that joy in that moment and then
And that
let
would
go.
be an
So it's not something like flamenco, which is about, you know,
Yeah.
this is my land and this is my, you know, and I am the matriarch and these are all my children.
Yeah.
It's much more ephemeral, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it's a
So but then that's also, it says something about the human condition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it speaks of
It
that
speaks of
transitory,
us,
yeah,
yeah.
which I think is eternal. You know, it's something that's is in us as well as human beings.
Yeah. And we all have like this kind of emotion.
Yeah, because we all lose things.
in different situations.
Yeah,
right?
we all lose
some
situations
things
and
we need
yeah,
to get
things move
back
on.
and so it's a feeling that all of us we have,
in us.
and we don't have a form of expressing this feeling in other dances. Because in other dances you need to be smiling, right? In tango you are like very concentrated in yourself. So he says aqui, solo un gringo puede hacer la payasada de aprovechar un tango para conversar o divertirse. Only a gringo can dance tango talking, making jokes or having fun, you know, because it's not part of tango, right? You see, I found that very interesting. Tango, if one thinks well, is the most amazing phenomenon in the popular ball dancing, because it's sad, it's like, right? However, all this can also be considered satiric in a way, you know? And the Argentinian are very much satiric in a way. The verse can bring the depression that is present in all human beings, but at the same time take it out of you in a humoristic way. So all of us having this feeling and we are just putting it outside of us, which is not bad, right? And he says one verse here, during the week hard work and Saturday night you are bacan. Bacan is the bacan is the Spanish bacano.
Dandy.
How can I say the dandy?
Sure.
The dandy. You are the dandy. Yeah, yeah. You are the dandy, right? So they have a lot of humor also, even in the sad musics. In tango, right?
So it's almost like you're sending yourself up in a way.
Yeah, you are laughing about your sadness, maybe.
Exaggerating the you know it's like you're exaggerating the emotions, and in doing it you can release them. I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm moving to the other part of it. Is that okay? Are you following? Okay.